So if we're ready to begin, where we last left off, we were last evening rushing towards the docks in the village of Chala because the mighty yacht of the Greyhawk family, the Silver Dragon, was under attack by a pirate ship, rushing down to the docks to go aid our mighty ship. Before we even realized what was happening, a huge vortex seemed to open up over the water, swirling and twisting, kind of like a black hole, but with colors of bright white and blue and green hinges in it. And it began pulling you and your companions. And even the people aboard both ships into it. You could hear people in Chala screaming from the chaos of what was happening before them. Some great force has sucked all of it away. You found yourselves suddenly in a small study with a man who seemed quite shocked and startled by your sudden arrival in his study room. After he got over his initial shock, he went on to explain that he was expecting some heroes, and you must be them. The heroes he was talking about, he went on to say, seemed to come from some prophecies that he's been reading. And he wouldn't go into much detail. We were all very disoriented from what just happened. We asked several questions. He didn't want to give us any names of places or causes and effects or this and that. He wanted you to have a good meal and settle down and gave you rooms for the night. He said all your questions would be answered in the morning. He introduced himself as Aman El Requib. He is a mage, an astrologer, high advisor, expert of ancient prophecy, and a sage.
What's a sage?
A sage, yeah, someone. Well, they can also keep track and records of history.
Okay.
Yeah, sages will often follow around important people for
To write their story and stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. You found the supper provided extremely good, and your rooms more than adequate. All of you settling into your private rooms, it wasn't long into your prayers that you discovered that the contact with your deities is almost completely gone. Mighty Al Akbar could hardly be felt from both Sino and Festalon Greyhawk. Mighty Talos seemed almost unreachable by Gorlesh. Likewise for Aster, mighty Stern Alea, and Godsalem for mighty Stealthwind, and of course mighty Cord. After several hours of praying and trying to find answers, each of you nearly collapsing with exhaustion, heard loud single footsteps approach each of your doors. And something dropped onto the wooden floor that sounded like it was metallic with a chain attached to it. You all went through proper precautions before opening the door and retrieving said object. Now, most of us here, in fact everyone but Stealthwind, knows what these objects are. Stealthwind put his away for now. But when we begin tonight, we're all fast asleep in our beds. And those of us that know what our amulets are have them on our necks.
I just wrote it down there.
So yes, if you don't have it written on your character,
And we didn't
Sino, yours, we'll go over it after Stealthwind is made aware, and I'll remind you of what's going on with him, because you haven't really wrote down anything yet.
No.
And
Okay.
we didn't see the Mysterious.
No, you did not. All of you used extreme caution and let them. Yeah. Now these footsteps sounded like they belonged to something or someone extremely heavy or big.
Argue.
Yes. Now you are all suddenly awakened by a series of very loud bells, 10 in total. These bells start ascending in tone, lower and lower with each sounding, until the final bell is just as much felt as it is heard. It begins to even shake and vibrate the buildings, and the rafters in your rooms start to shake, and sand dust start raining down from them, causing you to run out of your rooms. So all meeting in the hallway, the shaking subsides almost as did the long drawn out tone of that final bell. And you see quite a sight at the end of the hallway at the foot of the stairs. You see a 8-foot bald giant. His ears stick out very big, like unnaturally big for his head, kind of like oriental fans.
Picture you sent us, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He is scantily dressed, which shows his very muscular figure, which he is massive, about 4 foot wide in the shoulders. As you look at him, you see that his eyes are undersized. They're like mere pinpoints of light standing amongst its huge face, totally expressionless. He gestures to you as he turns his back and walks up the stairs, obviously wanting you to follow him.
Are we all in
Did
the
we
same
grab
hall?
our-
You're all in the hallway with your equipment fully up.
Yes.
But we're all in the
What's going on,
same,
guys?
right next to each other?
This
Yes.
is crazy, but
Seems
I'm
like
going with
something was there.
Because I got no other choice, really.
Yeah, we got a lot of questions to
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to the shadows, but
I'm going with you.
The stairs, wooden stairs, you can hear this giant ascending.
oh, there he
Give
is.
testament to its weight as they groan and creak.
I'm gonna follow. I'll be.
Yeah, I'll follow that direction.
I'm gonna bring up the rear.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be.
I'll be right behind Aster.
Okay.
Aster.
You follow him up to the top of the stairs and down a hall into the very room that you had your supper last night.
Amon.
Yes, the table can accommodate up to 8, so there's only 6 of us. And you find it well set up with juices and breads and berries. The smell of fresh eggs and ham and some nice thick steaks. It seems to be all pre-made and the room is empty. The big giant stands at the head of it
It smells heavy.
and bows its head to your group, showing his wrinkled bald head, and gestures for you to sit down as he turns and walks through a door just behind him into another room and closes it.
Thank you.
He wasn't that big.
Well, I guess I'm gonna sit down now. We've been through so much. I'm hungry.
I don't want to
How many
be
doors?
rude with
How many
you,
others?
so I'm gonna sit down.
There's 2 exits out of this room that we're eating, and one we just came in, and the one that the big giant just walks.
I'm gonna sit near.
Does anybody
Reviack.
got a way to detect magic?
Yes, I do.
I see you're not wearing yours.
See if it's
Well,
poison.
I'm kinda
Not
wondering,
all magic is poison.
because,
Can you contact your god?
is this, am I talking, or?
No, nobody else in the
Okay.
room, just us.
Yeah, every time we trust somebody,
Shit.
We get burnt.
we have assassins coming after us.
Hey,
We
yeah.
have people watching us,
Good point.
or, I wanna know,
I couldn't contact
first off, with this ambulance.
I would never have put something on like that, but for me, it showed an immense amount of holy magic. Blessed.
I felt good vibes from it too.
I tell you
As do
what,
I.
Can you contact your
it
god?
helped me a lot after I put it on. It wasn't someone who we've grown to trust. It
He's-
just kind of appeared.
Yeah,
And
we
we don't know if there's a hidden magic behind it that says, yes, you've got all these benefits here. I don't know if you all recall, but I got that one ancient piece from my family, and it ended up being a ruse.
Oh, yes, I do remember
Yeah.
that.
So, my friend,
Yep.
This,
I am being able to get in contact with my God,
As am I.
and I was not able to before, and that is the
As
most
am I.
important
Are you
thing in
really?
my life.
and how are you confirming that it's your God and not some God that's playing a role?
I know the feeling.
You
and
can feel the vibes
I
of your
can
God.
definitely know the feeling of when it is.
I mean, I understand your
externally.
hesitancy, but I can't go without my God. And
But there is no way that I can reach her unless I use this amulet.
I understand what you're saying
Well,
too.
this wizard,
A lie?
sage,
It's worth the risk for me.
Yeah,
he's gonna be, first off, very powerful. Second off, we don't know if there's been something put into this food that he keeps feeding
Sure,
us
well,
that is making a charm effect on us.
Well, what choices
We
do
don't
we
know if
have?
these amulets are causing some sort of charm effect on you.
Oh, trust me, I'm weary of it. I'm very weary of all of this. I'm not charmed by it whatsoever.
All I know is
Something
that
that you're gonna do
We
about
are,
it if
we
you
are in a
are.
land that we
I
don't
am
even
happy
know
that
where
I'm
we
able
are.
to
We are literally
reach
in the
my-
middle
my
of freaking
goal.
nowhere.
Festalon and myself agrees with what Stealthwind is saying. He
But
makes
what
a very
choice?
good logical point,
does.
especially considering that background. So I fully understand why you did not put yours on, and
we've
you
been
kind of
taken
make me
prisoner.
thinking about it now. I wonder. Okay, yes, I can remove mine and we'll put it
Yeah,
back
good
on.
thought. I'll take mine off.
But yeah, your point is well taken, my brother.
But we really don't
But-
have choice. I mean, we're a prisoner here.
I now can reach Al Akbar
We're
through
not a
this.
prisoner
And
here.
that's another thing.
We're not a prisoner here, we're the gods here. We're their adventurers if they need.
We've been brought
So
here against
far-
our will.
So far,
We're prisoners.
we disappeared from our realm and was here.
Yeah.
And so far, we haven't left this building.
True enough.
So,
We know what there is
to
to
say
roll.
that we're not prisoners,
Yeah.
you don't know that yet, Sino.
The point is well taken,
well,
and
you
I
know-
have found Stealthwind's wisdom to be very useful since we have traveled with him all this time.
Well, even if they do let us leave our whatever prophecy, we are basically doing work for somebody else against our will. That's
How many
slavery.
floors did this building seem to have?
I will
Damn, it was-
reluctantly put this thing on.
Is it the same amulet as that I have? Same symbol?
I'm
Same
sure
God?
it'll be the
Different-
same symbol.
different
Roll
God?
a save versus spell, Stealthwind.
Is it the same symbol?
15, I'm well good.
Okay. You became a little dizzy. We watch as Stealthwind's eyes kind of glaze over, and he seems unresponsive for the next 2 minutes. But we remember our experience. Some of us passed
Very
out
well.
when we put it on.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I went to sleep for a while.
Yes, you failed. You always fail every saving throw you make. No, just kidding.
I wasn't here.
Just a few minutes pass, and he comes conscious again, if you will.
It's not the
Oh,
same
well,
amulet.
well,
as
well,
ours.
Coherent again?
And you have just met the mighty Elestre,
I knew it was different.
goddess of the forest, goddess of rangers, goodness. And you've learned that you can piggyback, if you will, through mighty Elestre to reach Gadlothin.
And that's what I have to do.
It's like that for each one of us, but write this down, people. Sino and myself, Festalon, we have mighty Lathandar.
Lathandar.
Now, the god that we're using to piggyback to reach our original gods, you must pray his name first
Yep.
before you pray the other, the original, because you're using the first to contact the original.
Because that's you guys.
Yeah.
I'm worried about
You're
my-
not a spellcaster, so that's correct. But if you want to pray to your goddess for
I
guidance
have
and
mine
stuff,
written down.
yeah, you know, okay, you have yours written down. Do you have yours written down, Gorlesh? Because mighty
Yes, I do,
Talos has
yes.
turned to Talos.
Tolos.
Okay.
Tolos, yeah.
You must-
Talos, Tolos.
There you go. I like that better than what I did, actually, Brian. We'll keep that. Okay, Gorlesh, so you're all set. Aster, you're all set with who
But
you
I
got.
didn't
So
have
are
to
you
do- I
stealth
didn't
with?
have to-
Reviack is Timora.
I wrote it.
But I didn't have to piggyback because they're almost the same God from realm to realm. I didn't. You didn't
I
say
know,
had to
I know.
piggyback.
See, there's a conundrum with his character. His deity was originally a Forgotten Realms deity anyway.
Ah,
Yep.
So,
into the back door.
we came from Greyhawk, into Forgotten Realms here, so
And
I had to change just the pronunciation of Talos, a little bit. Thanks for your help on that, Brian.
And when I put it in the text accidentally, well, I did it on purpose, spelled it wrong. He caught it, but I sent him a side text going, no one knows how to spell Talos. No one's even gonna notice.
The door behind the dining room table that the giant went through a good 10 minutes ago reopens again, and in he comes and steps to the side, as in comes your host. Ah, my friends, have you touched your breakfast yet?
A little bit.
A little bit, we've been
Sampling.
chatting.
I hope you found your lodgings comfortable last night. He is carrying a bunch of scrolls and books that he sets down at the head of the table.
Oh,
You slept okay.
Yeah, for
Most part.
slept really well.
what we.
I know you still might be a little hazy, so again, I am Amon El-Requip, sage, mage, advisor, astrologer. I suggest you try the fruity mead. I know it is early, but you will find, I call it breakfast mead. It is in the golden pitcher.
Why are you pushing?
Alright, that all good.
You do not have to if you do not wish, but
I'll
it is
drink.
my favorite here.
I will drink.
It's might early to drink, isn't it? Oh, well, besides all those things, I am also an alcoholic.
Oh, orange juice?
Uh-huh. So you have berries, juice.
I know you have many questions, and I will do my best
Yeah.
Orange juice?
We got some
to
questions.
answer every one of those questions.
Well, we all received
Your
our-
first and foremost question.
Orange juice? Do you have orange juice?
That's your-
Certainly,
that's
that
your
is
first
in
question?
that is in this silver pitcher.
First question, who brought us here?
Ah, I do not have that answer.
Second question,
But-
where the hell is here?
First question first. But I know what brought you here.
Uh-oh.
After studying the ancient map that Gorlesh
Had, yep.
let me look at last night,
Uh-huh.
I have found with magic that it had hidden symbols on it, or magical runes, if you will. These were automatically activated after a certain number of hours passed once you received this map. I have translated this map for you,
Thank you.
and here is its full translation. The map no longer contains any magic.
Good.
different cities.
This ancient alphabet
Feels
that you see on these maps, you will have to learn how to decipher. For you will find many of the ancient language throughout the ruins in your quest in the desert ahead. I will be giving you a key to help you figure out. Before I get to where you are and who brought you here,
I'll wait for
I wish to give you the second map that I have had in my possession for a long time. I have also did the ancient
Scribbled it,
language
deciphered.
translation for you. I will tell you more about these maps in a moment.
a moon. A moon to read.
I'm in Rana.
Amon Ra, or Ray. Amon Ray is that name. The magic on the map that Gorlesh had was divine in nature, blessed.
I thought so. It tastes a little
So
sweet.
far as to your answer to your question of who brought you here. It's a what? It's one of the deities.
One of the deities?
One of the deities. Which
That's
one
very
I do not
interesting.
know. But that tells me that you are
You have massive upheaval.
the
here.
heroes mentioned of
That's,
the prophecy I mentioned. What, Sino?
You must have pretty heavy problems for us to have to be shipped here to give you guys a hand.
much has happened in this region known as Roaring.
What is what? Roll?
Roaring. It's now called the Desert of Desolation. But before I get into that exactly, you ask where you are. My friends, you are in the town of Bralizzar. Bralizzar is a caravanasani, a hub post, if you will, for caravans of merchants that either travel south across the Desert of Desolation to Bralizzar and the lands beyond, or from the lands south of here, north across the dust wall and into the mighty Desert of Desolation. Area is all tightly controlled by the Dupari, people from Dupar, northern lands of here. These Dupari worship one deity only, Anu. They are fanatic. The Anu is the only one true God, and they feel duty bound to make anyone of the old gods come to their new religion of Anu, or be killed or driven out into the desert as nomads. They are fanaticals about their one god Anu. This city is total Dupari.
Oh.
But the other group of people in this region, the original settlers of the Desert of Desolation, they're called the Rurandi, from Raran. Okay, the Rurandi. These Rurandi feel it necessary and they feel duty bound to protect the religions of all the old gods. Some of the symbols of which you wear now. Mighty Lusander, mighty Lady Luck.
And,
Yes, and the others.
and the other one I got wrapped around there. There's three on right now.
Yeah.
You cannot have enough support when it comes from deity influence. No.
Flashy. Flashy. Hey, look what I got.
The Dupari protect all rights to worship any deity they want, and they feel duty bound to protect the old temples to those religions, whereas the Dupari feel duty bound to destroy them. When the plague or the curse of Amun-Re came down and the mighty river Assus dried up, the Runandi were driven out. The land no longer habitable. Everything dried up. A universal dryness set in, and Rauran was renamed the Desert of Desolation to reflect that. The Rurandi moved into Bralizzar. They moved in and found the old temples of the gods and restored them. This is a long time ago, before the Desert of Desolation, just after it. They came into Bralizzar and kept the old temples and restored them, and they moved into the rich houses that lined the main street of our Bralizzar today. It wasn't long until the traders of the north, the Dupari and others from Sempha and a few others, demanded that trade open up again to the trade route south. Trade could have gone around the Alembar Sea and up the Sword Coast, but the journey was long and dangerous. Better, they reasoned, to send the goods again south, across the Desert of Desolation. If it was possible in the past to follow the great waters of the river Assus, when the water flowed there, surely it was possible to do it now, even though it was covered with sand. And finally, a group of a caravan was sent out to make the trek from the northern nations across the southern deserts to Bralizzar. They made it, but the tale they told was one of treachery, danger, and extreme weather conditions. But it was possible. Thus, the outlet to trade, the stress to trade had an outlet, and in came the Sand Voyagers Guild. The Sand Voyagers Guild are the only ones these days that journey regularly through the Desert of Desolation. They have huge sand ships which are pulled by various mounts. They leave a nice wide trail over 40 feet long, stretching across the desert of Desolation and following the now dry river canyon of the river Athos.
Nice.
Now these prophecies that I spoke of are from Martek. He was the Grand Vizier of Rauran. The word Vizier means ruler, high ruler. He was also called the greatest of mages. 1,000 years ago, Martek imprisoned, after doing a long battle, he imprisoned an evil Ifrit of great power. This was not any Ifrit. This was one of 9. This one, when not on this prime material plane, is in total control of the first level of the 9 hells. The other 9 of his equal are currently in the 9 hells and in control of the individual levels. This one is known as Pasha Calatharius.
Of course.
Martek was able to imprison him in a great battle, the like of which has never been seen since.
I certainly.
He did this using this sphere of power, which was buried with him. Using that wondrous tool, Martek bested the evil Ifrit, Pasha Calatharius. In that battle, the very desert sands flowed like water, as did intense fire, before the evil Ifrit was defeated. He was driven back and imprisoned in the town, or the city now in ruins, called Pazar.
That one? Bizarre.
When he defeated the evil Ifrit, he pumped all his arcane energy into that sphere of power, the very energy that kept him alive for centuries, beyond the age that any human should live.
Oh, yes.
He pumped that into the sphere of power and released it at the Ifrit.
Oh, nice.
He knew he had a matter of days, perhaps weeks, before him himself would die after imprisoning the evil Ifrit. He also knew that the evil Ifrit would eventually be released from its prison.
Oh, yeah.
So he took steps to help ensure its destruction when that happens.
Cautions.
Not only did he bury with him the mighty sphere of power, but before he did that, he enchanted 5 gems. He called these the Star Gems of Martek.
Absolutely.
He gave each one of them to the rulers crossed by the river of Athos, one in each city, one to each.
Makes sense.
The first one is called the Star of Mopolar.
That polar down here.
A fist-sized opal.
That is correct. It is a fist-size opal. The second is the Star of Ada Polar. It is a huge sapphire of midnight black with a star, purest white, in its center.
Nice.
The third, the Star of Shah Polar, a very large faceted ruby. Next, the Star of Khan Polar, an enormous clear crystal. And the Star of Molus Polar, a faceted amethyst ball.
Nice.
As I said, he scattered these across the cities that straddled and crossed the river Athos.
One in each city.
He did this because all 5 star gems are required to enter his tomb and retrieve the mighty sphere of power to destroy the Ifrit once the Ifrit is loosed from its prison.
What do you mean once? Is it?
It's gonna happen sooner or later.
It's going to happen here.
Ancient tomb, written by Martek himself was just a few months ago discovered and translated that says he will release himself soon, very soon, and that a group of heroes will be needed to gather the 5 magical gems, as I said, now scattered in the desert of desolation. I believe it is you that are here to fulfill this prophecy. Whether you believe it yourselves is an argument you will have to discuss and win amongst yourselves. I cannot force you to undertake this quest, but you must know I have no power to return you to your place of origins. But I can tell you this. The great cities that are now in ruins in the desert contain great and vast secrets, and perhaps the knowledge is there that can send you home when your quest is done.
Once we take over.
Once we search through the ruins, we might find something to help us.
Yep.
I feel
I'm looking
he
for
gestures, does these hand gestures to the giant that has said nothing. The giant responds with hand gestures. Seems that he's a mute and they're communicating through hand gestures. This is my bodyguard, Fargrim.
He's a big guy. I can tell when he walks, kind of thumps the floor a little bit.
I was so involved in telling you of the prophecies that I forgot to introduce him, and I'm sure he's quite intimidating, Stanley. Have you tried the
Yeah.
breakfast meat?
Yeah, he's just another big guy.
Listening to you.
I've had some bread and I've had some fruit.
I'm on my
But now
third.
I'm gonna try some food.
I'm
because
on
I'm
my
hungry.
third.
Well, let me tell you a little more as you eat.
Certainly.
At one time, when the river of Athos flowed, trade between the cities in the north, Mulholland and Sephar, and those in Dupar passed through the great deserts of Rowan by following that great river. The river Athos sprang from a magical fountain in Tribeca, the rich and verdant capital of Becar, a jewel in the desert. Its pharaohs had ruled there for time out of mind, and though its libraries were noted in some circles, it was the waters of Athos that were revered by the dwellers of the desert. The river Athos that sprang from Tribeca gave life to a long and sinuous corridor from there generally northward, passing the garden city of Pazar, the sacred White Palm, the city of Carthage, which is now, by the way, called Phoenix, and beyond to the lands where the legendary Martek had his domain. When the pharaoh Amun-Re called down his curse upon his people and the river Athos failed to flow in response, the fertile river valley dried up. So too did all the teeming life that was made possible by the flow dry up. With life in the desert nearly impossible, as I said earlier, the trade routes were shut down. They were shut down for almost 70 years before being reestablished.
Wow.
Let me tell you that the Dupari are not of your worry.
Right.
Keep your holy symbols hidden. And I promise you, you will not be asked who you worship. If you choose to accept this mission, I will be sending you into town to gather the supplies you will need. And my bodyguard, Fargrim, will be taking his place next to you out in the city. This will ensure evil pickpockets do not approach your group. From all the pretty items you carry, you will stand out like a sore thumb. But with my bodyguard, known in the city, you will not be approached or asked anything unless you cause some kind of disturbance.
So I choked on a grape.
Now, at the same time, the Dupari rule with an iron hand. Do not do anything dishonest. Do not attempt to kill or steal. All crimes are punishable by exile into the desert of desolation with no water, no food, no home. It's pretty much a gulag. Do not break any law.
Got my word.
But yet these evil pickpockets.
What does he,
Should you choose to undertake this mission, you will need mounts, whether they be camels or horses, because you cannot possibly carry enough water and rations to support you in the desert of desolation very long without them. Now, to bypass that little problem, you could possibly join one of the Sand Voyagers Guild caravans. However, this is hardly ever done or allowed. But perhaps you tried to bribe its leader. She may allow you to. But that depends on how much your funds are.
Do you have a change of currency for us?
Our currency to be spent here is Ico pieces. They are crystals.
Eyeball pieces.
Never heard of them.
Nah, me either.
They are left over from the great fires that was released by the mighty Pasha Calatharius in his battle with Martek over 1,000 years ago. The very sands of the desert were turned into this glass crystal. It is our main currency.
So we can melt some sand and make
So
some
what
flames.
about gold and stuff? So how do we change our gold over?
I will exchange all your party's wealth into Ico pieces for you. I will do it individually if you would like.
Well, probably be more helpful. So we could start over there.
Kind of weird, Dave.
Gotta look and see what I got, so.
And what is the currency ratio or exchange
bought-
rate?
I bought stuff, so my gold is minimal.
10 gold per 1 Ico piece.
What is it? I'm sorry.
10 gold for 1 acre. And how expensive?
And I will convert any and all of your gems that you may have into Ico pieces as well. You will need, if you do not travel with the caravan, or even if you do not, you will need pack animals unless you have very rare items to carry all that water for you and rations. Because even if you travel with the Sand Voyagers Guild, none of them will be going anywhere near the ancient ruins that you will need to explore. You will have to leave that caravan and the caravan trail at some point to go off into the desert of desolation towards these ruins. Your first will be Pazar.
How much would a camel cost us?
You can negotiate those prices in the market.
Depending
Can I
on your
trade you
skills, in
130
other words.
platinum pieces for your crystals?
Yeah, how much is the platinum? 10 gold?
30 would be 65,
Gold.
so
Wait, how much is the platinum to gold?
5.
Oh.
So it takes 2 platinum for 1 Ico piece.
Huh?
5 for,
But I will take 50 of those Ico pieces.
So you get half that many back of the platinum pieces in Ico pieces.
okay. Cool.
That's what that translates into.
65?
So if I have 116,
That's for the platinum.
1, 6, plus
You can add up all the silver and electrum and gold you have too and figure out.
58.
8.
You should figure out your grand total that you want to cash in individually.
How about gems?
I got 65.
I'll take 50.
As I stated, I will cash in any and all gems for you into Ico pieces.
Yeah, hang on, I'm doing some math to figure out what we got here.
You will take your time. And I hope you enjoyed the breakfast meat.
Now, will 50 of those
10.
Ico pieces be enough to get a camel?
That's what I was saying. What approximately would it be,
I got, hang on, 220.
give or take?
Pardon me?
20.
50 Ico pieces, will that be enough to get myself outfitted?
I do not have a list of prices from the market. I buy my goods that come in on various caravans, not locally. I'm sorry, I do not have those prices.
17.
But I can tell you what you will need if you're going to venture out into the desert. I'll give you some recommendations. Are you ready?
You know,
Yes. Camel,
Yes, we'll need camels.
water.
Well, you want to hold on there.
hang on.
Don't just start writing stuff.
Okay.
DM's here's going to give it to you in specific order the way he's got it up here.
Ooh, man,
I highly recommend each of you get hooded desert robes.
Get what?
It is desert road.
Hooded desert robes.
Hooded desert robe. Okay.
Sand goggles,
Yeah, good thinking.
leather gloves, a good supply of anti-venom. You should each carry at least 6 vials each and have them not only for yourself, but to pack animals.
Good idea.
Like you can.
The anti-venom that you can buy is a wide spectrum for any venom of the creatures of the desert, scorpions and snakes and others. You must purchase, if you do not already have, an excellent quality compass. You should purchase one of the highest quality. There are no maps available for the Desert of Desolation, except for these ancient ones, the 2 of which you hold now, and others will probably be discovered out in the desert.
Huh.
As I said, the Sand Voyagers Guild are the only ones now that travel regularly through the desert, except for the Warandi dervishes. Let me tell you of the Warandi dervishes real quick. Those are the ones that still cling to the old religions, like we do. They are outcasts, aliens, and outlaws, as far as the Dupar is concerned. That would kind of make them your friends. However, they protect all the sacred old tombs and temples from pillaging and looting, and consider such infidels guilty as hell who do this. And they mark individuals for their blood quest. Their blood quest, if they find a tomb or temple looted or pillaged, they will track the individual with their considerable skills until they find them. That guilty thief / vandal will then find his fate at the screaming hand of any dervishes on hand. There's a desert proverb, woe unto those who put blood in the eye of the dervish. So I am sending you to these ancient ruins to get relics the dervish will not appreciate.
So,
Okay.
Well, that's blunt and
Start out
truthful.
being
They
friends
tend
with
to
them
make
and
they tend to make encampments and strongholds near ruins. They feel duty bound, protecting from infidels and robbers and thieves.
So if we explain to them that we're part of the prophecy,
They won't care.
I cannot guess their outcome there, but I think Stealthwind is probably correct.
he's an
so
infidel?
we're basically gonna go into the ruins, take just the job.
Perhaps you shouldn't use skill that you all have to perhaps discover any encampments that might nearby
Clean them up.
and find a way to go in undetected by them.
Oh,
Very
okay.
good.
I was thinking cleaning them out.
You may do whatever your party is used to doing.
I
Your,
don't wanna make enemies of
your
everybody.
morality is yours. I cannot tell you how to proceed. All I know for sure, and I'm 99% sure, you are the heroes mentioned by Martek in his prophecies, who are meant to find these 5-star gems, retrieve the sphere of power,
I'm here to bring good to
and
the
I
realm.
swear I hope you find them and get the sphere before Pasha Calatharius is set free.
Didn't you bring out like a book or something and showed us a picture of ourselves? Said this is a prophecy, and you were the ones. I vaguely remember.
You were under some effects of this intense blessed magic that brought you here,
Yep.
and were hallucinating. I could not control that. That's why I so sternly said you need to eat and rest before you get any information.
So we're basically on our own.
So also, I would suggest at least 3 camels. Each camel can hold up to 900 pounds.
Hang on.
She's got camel toe.
Camels can go longer and have less daily requirement with water over horses. They will cost you more. But remember, not only are your camels going to be carry food and water rations for you, but for them as well, to include oats and grains. There are 2 guard posts that are controlled by the Dupari. This mighty city of Bralizzar rests in the valley of the Dustwall Mountains. About a 5-day journey from here to the northwest is the pass called the North Knife Pass. It has a guard post of Dupari. They do not allow any caravan or group of people to allow passage into the Desert of Desolation unless they can prove that they have a permission from the hetman here in Bralizzar.
Where can we find him?
I will give you directions to his home and give you his name. His name is Elham Pasha Burek. He is the hetman of Bralizzar. Now, the word hetman means lawmaker or judge. He can issue the necessary medallion that says you have his permission and you are under his authority to proceed into the Desert of Desolation. The reason these guard posts exist is to stop the illegal trade of any stolen booty from caravans coming in and getting trade. So anyone coming from the north, from the Desert of Desolation, through the Dustwall Mountains, through this North Knife Pass, it's the only way you can cross the Dustwall. The Dustwall is a huge gathering of blown sand that ends in these jagged rock peaks, some of which are over 20,000 feet high.
Wow.
The mountains
That's
are
wild.
vast, and the North Knife Pass is the only way through. Now, caravans or people coming from the north, from the Desert of Desolation, coming to this checkpost, this stronghold of Dupari, must also show bona fides from the traders of the northern regions of Semfar and others, that they are bona fide traders and have the right to come into Bralizzar and to trade legitimately. So, as I said, this trade and the laws are all tightly controlled by the Dupari. You will have no problem with them, or their lancers, or air lancers, as long as you do not break any of their laws and regulations locally.
Stealthwind.
So we're gonna be riding the camel or we're gonna be walking?
You can do either or. You will not make any better time riding, but you will consume half the amount of water if you are riding a camel. Did everybody catch that?
Yes.
Have the amount of water in your right.
Listen up. You do not have to ride a camel. There's no benefit in speed and time of travel, but the benefit of riding a camel is you will consume half the amount of daily requirement in water if
You
you
got a
do.
half gallon.
Makes
of-
sense.
Yeah.
I'd attempt it. I don't think I have
So,
land-based
is he
ride, but I
gonna-
would attempt it.
work on it.
What do we tell him that we're doing in order to get this permit?
He will know you come from me because of following with you.
So we don't have
And
to tell him?
you just tell him
Secret
that,
handshake?
that myself, Aman Alric Whip, calls you friend. And I am one of his best advisors. I have known him for a count of 30 years. We are greatest of friends.
It's definitely who I want to go see.
Now,
When you tell him you are my friends, he will give you that and answer any questions that you may have too.
might there be a small covered wagon with maybe wide wheels to get through the sand dunes here?
No wheels, go very good out into the
Slats,
desert.
slits.
The massive sun ships that they have run on massive skids. They have smaller skied craft that can be pulled
Probably less skiff.
to carry more rations or whatever you need to carry.
And how much water?
But that would cost extras.
And how much water does a person usually consume on a day's travel?
If you're traveling on foot, it's 2 gallons a day per person. If you're riding a camel, it's 1 gallon a day per person. Camels will require 1 gallon a day, where horses require 3. So I would go with camels.
Not to mention the fact that
That's even if we are riding. that's
These
still one-
camels, most of them are double humped
so what we
and
say
are
about
quite
ours,
large. Like I said, they can each carry about 900 pounds.
Would you say it would be better to travel at night?
Absolutely, you will definitely travel at night. You will consume 3 times the amount of water traveling during the day.
Should we have big tents to cover over us while we
See, this
rest?
is what I was thinking, if we get one of these smaller skid-style wagons,
We still got our magical fucking hut, don't we?
we could get tall enough poles that we could stick them on the wagon and bring a tarp down over top of the camels during the day. And then we could roll that up and put it inside the thing.
That's very good because you will not always be able to find direct cover from the sunlight. You have a wise one there with you.
We tell them that all the time.
Yeah, but you
Don't
wouldn't
give 'em
use the
big
word
heads.
ass afterward. I don't
Every time.
understand.
Don't be giving them big heads.
If you wish to try to bribe the official Sand Voyagers Guild of assistant guild master, her name is El Gelada.
El Gelada.
Gelada. Oh, gelada woman.
Yeah, that's up here as well.
I just wanna go meet, Atham Pasha.
She may be able to be bribed, but it will take a hefty sum of Ico crystals.
Now, are these Sand Voyagers also Dupree?
Yes, this whole area and the Sand Voyagers Guild and all the strongholds are controlled by the Dupree. All the Warandi has either assimilated into the one religion of Anu, or have been killed or scattered and now live as nomads in the desert, protecting the ancient temples and ruins, as I have said.
How plentiful are your crystals that you use for payments for things?
There's an entire sea of them.
Ah, so they're quite
It is
plentiful.
the leftover from the mighty battle between Martek
Is that on the map?
and Pasha Keltharius. No, it is not.
Oh, darn it. Could have gone there and mined
Now,
out.
in real life, these green crystals, they're green. Ico is short for the full word, which I can't come up with right now, but they're the result of nuclear explosions, usually. And a sea of it was created in this battle with the Ifrit.
Now we're gonna fight Godzilla and fight him.
So we don't want anybody to know our quest, right?
Our
It's not gonna
intentions.
help us in any way to,
Announce it? Yeah,
Reveal.
definitely not.
We shouldn't be yelling it through the streets now.
That is wise.
What other types
Go
of
to
creatures
the
are we going
religious
to
fanatics
come
and
across
tell
out in
them
the
we're
desert?
gonna go pillage their temples.
Any big sandworms
Yeah,
and things in the
what
Yeah.
kind of,
I don't think it's
crazy
gonna-
creatures you got around here?
Sino mentions sandworms. Yes, some up to 30 feet.
Oh,
Yeah,
Attack you from below the sand.
and this, is that what this is on the map?
No, that represents the kingdom of Bakar. That is their symbol.
car.
It is that kingdom which established Trebekar, where the mighty fountain of Athos waters springs,
And where,
once sprung.
where are we on this?
We're south on the other side of the great mountain range called the Dustwall Mountains that are nowhere near on that map. That's inside the Desert of Desolation. To give you an idea,
Yeah, to even get to our first stop, would be, you said Bazaar, right?
Long travel.
Aster. Keep our host
this is the
busy.
DM's map, okay? It's not going to hurt you to look at.
Yeah,
Bralizzar is right here, okay? You guys can
Yeah.
pass this around. Each square on here, 2 squares, each hex here is about 5 miles, okay? The North Knife Pass, this is the Dustwall Mountains. North of that is the Desert of Desolation. And once you get up there, it's on the same scale as the ancient maps, so.
Oh, nice.
So our first stop is Bazaar?
Pazar, yes.
And we're in,
On this map, look, you have to look at what represents the river canyon of Athos. See how it goes like
Yeah.
this? And here goes this.
so
Number 10, Pazar, yes.
That's a long travel.
Yeah, that's
And what are those,
And it's 5-day journey just from Bralizzar
Oh, yeah.
to the North Knife Pass. To that guard post that's gonna
Yeah.
wanna see your bona fides
so it's
from
another-
Hetman.
another week past
Sorry
that.
about
yeah.
that. No, you're fine, dude.
And then a mountain, we gotta go over.
This is a whole mountain range called the Dust Walls.
So we have to go up over a mountain then back there?
Yes.
Through the pass,
Through the
the North
pass.
Knife Pass, which is a winding, zigzagging trail so you can handle the elevation change.
Basically, we got close to a month.
And for the heights, the summit of the pass is 8,000 feet. So Blue Mountain in the ADK was just under 4,000 feet.
Okay.
For example, we're going to be going to twice that range, just to the summit before we go down the other
I
side
better eat more.
into the desert of desolation.
That's a lot of you shitting in the sand.
But I
man.
think we'll take our break there, guys. An excellent start.